McNamara or McCarthy? Which guy should be the guy in Ann Arbor? I'm going to reveal my Michigan quarterback plan. Before I reveal my Michigan master plan at quarterback, just a reminder, hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay notified. You're going to want to ring that bell because live stream Sundays on select Sundays, going to recap some Big Ten games, previews, reactions. This is the place to be on YouTube for every Big Ten fan. All right, let's talk about it. Are we going with McNamara or are we going with McCarthy? Before I offer my opinion, I want to offer some context on someone who's highly respected and on someone who's been to camp. This is Big Ten Network host Dave Revsine talking on 97.1 The Ticket, sports radio out of Detroit, in terms of who should start at Michigan. Take a listen.
If you had to pick, who's your starting quarterback?
Oh, I would go with McNamara for sure. Yeah. I just don't think that they need. I think there's a little bit more risk with McCarthy. He's a really, really good quarterback, and just about any team in college football would be falling all over themselves to get him. I'm not suggesting he's not good. I guess I just feel like McNamara makes such good decisions, and I just don't think it's worth the risk. I think you want a guy who doesn't put the ball in harm's way simply because you don't need the risk. I just think you need someone who isn't going to make mistakes at that spot. So for me, it's McNamara. I think there has to be a role for McCarthy because he does add a really dangerous dimension. But for sure, I would go with McNamara, no doubt in my mind.
I believe in that soundbite when Dave mentions risk. I think it's more of an unfamiliar type of feeling for everybody at Michigan because you know what you got in Cade McNamara. He's a Big Ten championship quarterback, and obviously he's improved. Not only Dave, but other reporters that have been covering the University of Michigan at fall camp say, yeah, some days Cade is the guy. No, there's some days that JJ is the guy, but Cade is also looking really good, not only according to Dave, but according to other Michigan reporters that I've been following on the Twitter sphere. So, do you throw that away and did you give it all to JJ? Dave is saying no, but here's my plan as to how I believe Michigan should evaluate and how they should progress at the quarterback position going into the season. Okay, if things are as even as we think they are, as they've been reported by other guys, then we need to give these guys equal game reps before things really get hairy in the Big Ten season when they go to Kinnick on October 1st. So if you look at the schedule, home games, Colorado State, Hawaii, and Connecticut, those are the ones I'm going to focus on. I'm going to trot out Cade McNamara, that first game as the starting quarterback against Colorado State. Now, JJ can still come in those packages in certain situations like he did last year. But for game number 2, Hawaii game, I'm starting JJ McCarthy. And maybe I'm plugging in Cade McNamara to come in certain situations. I'm going to start both of those guys. Now, given they're both in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they're both not against very good teams. But I want to see both of them in game action in a starting situation where games I know I'm going to be victorious and I know I'm going to be good. Now, are you going to be able to evaluate the Colorado State game and the Hawaii game and say, yeah, this guy played better against this team, so he's going to be the starting quarterback against Iowa, Nebraska, Ohio State, all these good teams? Maybe that doesn't make the most sense. But I want to see both of these guys in game action. I think when we refer to saying, yeah, JJ McCarthy looks like the better arm talent, he looks like this, he looks like that, he should get the starting nod, for people that lean that way, I think it's a short sample size. I think a lot of it has to do what has been told to us via recruiting rankings and recruiting scouting reports. Now, he has thrown some really good balls, no question about that, in game situations. But I want to see a full game from JJ McCarthy because, if things are as even as they're being reported, I want to see them both in a game situation because it would be a real shame if JJ McCarthy is clearly the better quarterback and he doesn't get the nod because Cade's a lot like Jimmy Harbaugh, right? It would be a shame that Cade gets the nod because he's just what's familiar. He's the Big Ten championship quarterback. He deserves it. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It doesn't matter who deserves it. It matters who's going to go out there and beat a team like Ohio State. Who's going to go on the road to Kinnick in a hostile environment and beat the Iowa Hawkeyes. They need to figure this out, I think, early in the season. You got the Connecticut game as well. So you take those first two games and you say, oh, this guy seems a little bit better. Throw him in the UConn game, and then you kind of go off from there. Maryland is that game at home. Oh, you got to get it figured out by then, because Maryland's a decent team. Now, you're going to be at home, and they're probably going to beat Maryland. But I think by about the fourth or fifth game, you got to figure it out, because after that Maryland game, they go on the road to Iowa City. That is how I would approach the situation at quarterback for the University of Michigan, because the last thing you want is after that Iowa game and other games down the stretch, Michigan State, Penn State, Nebraska, Ohio State, good teams, the last thing you want to do is to be flipping starting quarterbacks and be indecisive behind center. I want to know what you guys think. What should Michigan do at the quarterback position heading into week 1 of the college football season? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit subscribe here on Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.